And welcome back, esports fans. It is week 4, day 3 of the PCS, as we are seeing just what kind of shape our teams are in heading into the final week of regular play. Before we get into this next matchup, I would like to take a moment to thank our lovely sponsors, CTBC Bank, China Airlines, and Chunghwa Telecom. Thank you for making the PCS possible. Now, Nightstar, we get to see Impunity play their second game today, but this is going to be a different sort of test as they take on the red-hot Machi Esports.
It's definitely a much more difficult opponent in comparison to Alpha, who's hanging out, chilling at the bottom of the barrel. And against Machi, like, a lot of the stuff that they had blunders with or fumbled in their game against Alpha, that's gonna 100% be punished by Machi. So we need to see a much tighter game if Impunity are even able to get ahead.
Yeah, and Impunity, they need every win they can get, although, you know, it certainly gives them some breathing room to have picked up that victory versus Alpha. I do keep wanting to go back to that match because it was an interesting one for sure. But let's take a look at Machi Esports. They are Lee Kai in the top side, Gemini in the jungle, Jimmy on mid, Atlan at AD carry, and Koala on support. Now, Jimmy has been honestly kind of off the chain this split. He's stacked up MVP after MVP. In fact, if it weren't for their one loss last week, I think maybe Machi would have just continued that trend for a little while.
Yeah, and the other thing of note for Jimin is that he has a 74% kill participation, which is a really nuts stat, along with his hair.
That's a lot. His hair is certainly nuts as well. He's gone all the way up today. You know, very inventive, very creative. I do like it. Jimin is a player of many talents, it would appear.
For sure. And I mean, this mid lane matchup is going to be a really important, not necessarily for Machi, but rather for the side of Impunity. They need to find some sort of matchup here in draft that allows Moonblack to get out of lane safely, to allow him to really utilize his decision making, which has been really good in comparison to a lot of other mid laners, even some of the top mid laners in this league. It's just, of course, being able to get out without too much of a blemish when it comes to the first 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, that is always the question to ask. Let's take a look at Impunity. They, of course, had made their swap down on the support position. So joining Top King, Epic, Moonblack, and Blaze will be Kralix, who had a decent showing, certainly looked good on that thresh against Alpha, but I think this is the real test, right? Like, it's one thing to look good against the bottom team of the league. Now you got to do it against Atlan and Koala. You know, not the strongest side of Machi by any stretch, but certainly going to be a much tougher task.
At the very least, it's not one of the top bot laners, so you have a little bit more room, and it's also just not one of Machi's real big strong lanes, or at least focus when it comes to draft or even in game. But what will be the focus, of course, is this mid lane. The champ pools are vastly different. Yes, there's an overlap in the Silas and the LeBlanc, but if you watch how the gameplay unfolds, it's definitely very stark difference with how they use these champions, and it's especially exemplified in the number of solo kills.
Jimmy likes to assassinate you. He likes to get up in your face, get those kills. There's a reason he is currently leading the league in MVPs at the moment with like 5. He's just absolutely off the chain. Moonblack, on the other hand, he has struggled in this split. I think he's found some success on the likes of the Azir. Obviously, the Heimerdinger continues to be perm-banned against him. I don't know too many people that force that kind of a ban constantly, but they do. And not just one, he also has the Kled banned out, so Machi clearly don't want to deal with his shenanigans. Even the LeBlanc, that's 3 mid lane bans thrown Moonblack's way. On the Impunity side, the Viego, much more standard. And of course, the Lucian comes in. I know we were talking pre-pick and ban just off the mic about how Lucian was liable to be a ban on the Impunity side against Jimian.
The Lucian pick definitely makes a lot of sense. Like, no matter what Moonblack takes into that mid lane, it will get bodied by the Lucian. It's just the fact of the champion pool. And for Machi, it looks like they're hovering this Diana pick, actually locking that in over couple of other options. And for the side of Impunity, I mean, you've got Irelia available for you. Most likely it would go into the hands of top game, but again, they want to try and save counter pick for top game. So whether that's R3 or R5, it won't happen this rotation. It should be something along the lines of Thresh Aphelios, Thresh Jungler, and they've got a decent amount of junglers available to them. It's just a matter of what kind of dynamic they want to play when it comes to this matchup into the Diana.
Yeah, so Groundlix does get a chance to play the Thresh again. Diana has been a champion that Gemini has preferred over the likes of the Xin Zhao, played it a little bit more so far in this split, and he even has a couple of pop-off games to remember. So certainly Machi is a team that has multiple weapons available to them, and Epic will get the lock into the Olaf. It's only his second. Certainly played a lot more of the Lee Sin, so interesting to start things off here. What do you make of that one, Night Star?
The Olaf can kind of match the clear speed coming in from the Diana. I'd love to see the Ghost being taken on him. It just lets him be a lot more aggressive when it comes to ganking lanes, but we'll see what he settles on for Summoners. And for the side of Machi, I'm surprised they didn't go ahead and lock in the Ziggs pick, as the Ziggs is a pretty powerful pick again. And both of these teams do like to play it. Interesting that they would hover this Lee Sin.
We saw rest on it last game. It's going to get locked. That could be very well a Lee Kai champion. I feel like Jimian could take it too if they really wanted to get hyphy. It just depends on what the Moonblack pick is.
Yeah, it certainly could just go in tandem with this Diana. And okay,
wait a second. Nice. Sorry, I just had an idea.
Okay.
We'll talk about that Kalista in a second. I do like the Shadow Isles bot lane, but what if this is a top Lee Sin and Jimian is setting up for a Yasuo Wombo combo?
Yasuo, yeah. I was actually thinking of that because of the classic combination, or at least nowadays, of Diana Yasuo. It's just such a powerful combination. You could also play 1-3-1 with it, be able to roam around, go to whatever lane the Lee Sin is. It's such a versatile pick here, and of course against a player like Moonblack, you expect that he's not going to get heavily punished. However, you don't have red side, so perhaps they're going to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to locking that pick in. But Kalista is certainly a champion to focus on for the side of Impunity. Brings a lot of aggression into this bottom lane, and this is definitely a much different look compared to the previous game that they played, because now you're expecting Kralix and Blaze to play a lot more upfront, look for kills, because if this Kalista pick doesn't get snowballed, like you're going into a Diana and a Lee Sin, and their range, with both sides being pretty low range, you definitely favor the burst potential coming in from Diana Lee Sin more.
And Impunity looking to try and shave out some of the champion choices that Koala can grab with a Nautilus and a Leona ban in the second phase. They will lock the Tahm Kench, and that should be guaranteed to go onto the top side because of the Thresh already being shown. So now Machi, we'll get to see what the answer is. What do they pair up with this composition?
You know, I'm totally down to just move the Lee Sin into the mid lane, pick yourself a Trundle in that top side, but it could also be some sort of AD carry top lane who can kite out the Tahm Kench. Vayne makes a lot of sense here.
Vayne top, I love it.
So you're going to have Vayne in that top lane, has the percent health damage to deal with this Tahm Kench, but still, it's a pretty volatile lane. If the Tahm Kench ever gets a kill because of a gank coming in from Olaf, like, life's miserable as a Vayne if the Tongue Lash ever lands onto you after that.
Yeah, I think that's the if, right? Lee Kai is saying, I'll take that bet, Top King. Let's go ahead and make it happen. For the Impunity side, last night, they didn't take away the Azir, so I think this does make sense. Moonblack will get another crack at it. Let's see if he ends up blocking it as the timer ticks down.
So Azir would shore up a lot of their late game damage because of the fact that Kalista drops off pretty quickly when it comes to damage, and it's really just, you're essentially a support. You're there to just help your support go in or get out when he goes ahead and makes plays. However, that means once late game comes around, Moonblack shouldn't have the ability to go in for those big Shurima shuffles because he doesn't have the damage to back it up from the rest of the squad. So if this game gets to that 28-minute mark, positioning from the Azir is absolute paramount.
Yeah, now I think there is also maybe a little bit of a pocket ace in the form of the Tahm Kench, right? Top King could very well. I mean, we didn't see it last time as much, but maybe save Moonblack for himself if he goes a little bit too deep. All the same, I do worry for Top King now because without a whole lot of intervention, I mean, it's kind of open season on Tahm Kench topside. Like, that Condemn is brutal. The Silver Bolts for the true damage, I mean, I think there's a big bet being taken by Machi's side this game.
He's going to have a lot of trouble if that top side is going to remain isolated. So expect Epic to try and influence that lane and for Gemini to try and ward around. And if there is a lot of pressure being thrown top side, to be able to just power farm to ridiculous numbers and hopefully just be able to really assert himself in mid game once he gets that first item.
Yeah. For Impunity's side, definitely composition they should be relatively comfortable with. You talked about a little bit more aggressive with the likes of the Kalista needing to snowball early on. We'll see if Blaze is capable of it. This, I believe this is the first Kalista he's played this split, but I do like the pairing. And of course, with the Shadow Isles bottom lane, should be a lot of potential for playmaking. Impunity will need it if they hope to get a victory here against the side of Machi Esports. Bit of a mismatch in terms of the standings, but Impunity coming off a win, definitely trying to put themselves in pole position to secure that playoff berth for the postseason.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And Impunity also looking to perhaps climb the ladder when it comes to the playoff positioning, because you do want to hit number 6 preferably, just so you can start out.
That's true.
Ooh, big hook.
Whoa. Okay.
Misses.
Yeah, it does miss, but they forced the flash at a Gemini. It's a nice start. I think you made a really good point about it. Yeah, with Berjaya Dragons dropping a game, Impunity are in position, if they can manage a win, to try and leapfrog them here.
Yeah, if they are able to get the win and get into that 6th slot, you do start in the upper bracket. So it gives you that extra life, which is really important. Yes, you're going up into still an underdog matchup against one of the top 4 or 3rd or 4th seed in that case, but it's still a lot better prospect, allowing yourself an extra series to grow and adapt.
And consider how Impunity started the split, right? I mean, they got off to what can only be described as a very rough start. Just were not able to find the wins, seemed to be a little headless at times, but now it has started to come back together. Not going to be easy this game. Not going to give them that by a long shot, but they will be in a much better position if they can find it. So we get underway. No trickery, no shenanigans outside of burning that early flash. Of course, Gemini won't be looking to go for a gank for a little while here. Lee Kai does face check into Top King. Able to tumble away, no problem. Yeah, this is one of those fun matchups. As a top lane tank player, I'm already getting flashbacks.
It's never a fun matchup if you're playing a melee tank champion into a Vayne, but Moonblack asserting his range differential in this mid lane, which is going to be a really nice start for him, and having the range advantage is going to help him out considerably in making sure that, again, he gets out of this lane scot-free. Although level 6 is still going to be scary, having the really execute power of the Lee Sin and the Diana.
Speaking of the Diana, Gemini does come in for the level 3 gank, forcing the flash at a Moonblack.
Oh,
yeah, they don't connect on everything, but Moonblack sticks around really long time as he sees Epic coming to the rescue. So yeah, Gemini is able to force a flash out of the Impunity mid laner for free.
Flash burned, which is really important, but more importantly is the fact that because he takes so much damage, he's actually going to go for an early recall. Yes, he has the teleport to get back into lane. Still hurts a lot in influencing that back timer. That means that G-Man, he's going to get probably a free back. Clears out the minions here, goes ahead, recalls, and he will be able to just walk back to lane rather than use that teleport back into lane.
Yeah, if he wants to make a play on side lanes, if Machi want to go for a dive somewhere, that opens up the possibility. Waiting on that flash to come back up for Gemini at this point. Epic and Kralix will combo up to take down Scuttle Crab. And, yeah. It's, no. Pan away from this. I don't want to see this. I don't like this lane. This is a bad lane.
Pretty
Please,
unfun lane.
observers, I'm begging you. It's 23. He's 23
like,
farmed to 12.
Yeah. Lee Kai, he understands how one-sided this matchup is. He's got the cull ticking as well. So this is going to be a really fast power play for Vayne. And it's really, again, up to Epic to try and gank this lane. And this lane, like, past a couple minutes is almost ungankable.
Yeah, I think Lee Kai, even though he's on a squishy champion, should be relatively safe. You know, Epic hasn't really been in a position to get up to the top just yet. We'll see if that changes. He has a double buffs on, going for the power clear. And, yeah, I'm curious to see what ends up happening up there. And for the later stages of the game, too, I mean, Vayne famously a big old scaler. Now, let's take a look at the 2v2 play down on the bottom. Blaze taking a lot of damage from the piercing arrow of Atlan. And Koala tanks up well. Meanwhile, back to the mid, Jimmian forced to dash away. Epic tanks 2 tower shots and a Sonic Wave, but Jimmian is not going to go back in on that. No Lee Syndrome today. That would be almost certainly a death sentence.
That's a death sentence now. Chilling out in the bot side. I understand where you're going. Perfect segue.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Nice. You got me.
But, I mean, Blaze, he's going to be struggling quite a bit, even in this lane, because if he ever gets tagged by the Braum, the range advantage is there for the Varus. He's going to have a better time. He also has, of course, the Hail Blades. He's going to be able to proc that pretty quickly. And Kralix, like, he has to go aggressive, but it's so hard to go aggressive against the Braum lane. And it's just a whole lot of unfun on both of the side lanes. And somehow, Moonblack, he has to carry a lot of the weight for this roster.
Yeah, I think he certainly feels up to it. I mean, this is a champion he's very confident on, but at the same time, Blaze and Kralix getting bullied out does mean that it ends up being an early Ocean Dragon here for the side of Machi. Lee Kai just hit 6. Epic coming into the mid lane, seeing if he can get Moonblack ahead. I think the name of the game is going to be try and snowball the Azir.
He has kick, though.
Epic, yeah, nicely done. He's able to get away. Moonblack has 6, but almost no mana to work with, so I think this is it.
Yeah, they're just going to try and reset the wave here, crash it in, and find a recall for Moonblack. Of course, recall timing is really, really important because of the fact that G-Man does have teleport available, and Moonblack does not. So being able to get this crash is really, really nice, or at least the reset. And Lee Kai, like,
yeah, I feel that, Top King. I feel it in my bones. Here comes Gemini. They're going to look for the dive here. Top King really trying his best to hold on to the weak side. Lee Kai gets licked. He's got the final hour, though, and just aiming for a condemn into the wall or into the tower itself. Just polishing off. Gemini is just waiting. This is dirty.
It is quite a lot of health bar to chew through, though.
Yeah, he flashes, but it's not doing anything as he goes for the Abyssal Dive. Not gonna happen. Gemini flashes him the Machi, and this is gonna open up a lot of plate pressure.
And yeah, Top King, he gets absolutely collapsed.
He's more of a top peasant right now. Like, there's nothing he can do.
He just got absolutely rocked. His flash got red. He tried to flash out of that situation, hopefully reposition himself.
He tried to dive, but Gemini pulled him in on the Moonfall too. Like, he got to do absolutely nothing. Like, this game, he does not get to play League of Legends. He gets to play Die a Thousand Deaths, I think, until Epic comes to his rescue.
Yeah, and the last time they actually met, Impunity, Top King, he was the first one to play the Tom Kenshit. This was also 11-13 when he didn't get the buffs. And I think the side of Machi, especially Lee Kai, learned a lot from like, apparently looks like he wants to play this champ. Well, I've got my special counter pick crafted up here, and what do you know? So far, so good.
Yeah, okay, that was some good pressure by Top King. I'm surprised Lee Kai actually tanked it. I think he could have tumbled away and not gotten into a position where he got hit by the Abyssal Dive. All All right, Jimmy and taking a little bit of damage. Gemini and Epic
Gemini's
are both
knows.
here, but Gemini's the one with the info. Top King's coming down as well. I think they want to make a play onto Jimmy, and look at Kralix and Blade. Everybody's
Everyone
here in
is
the
here.
mid lane. It's going to be our little party. We got Chains Don't Land. That's going to be the Fate's call. Get the knock-up and bop-up onto Jimmy, but they don't have enough damage as the pushback comes through. It's Blaze that gets taken out early as Moonblack kind of betrayed his own
what
AD
a pull.
carry, shoved him in. The Moonfall comes down.
turn?
Turning around, Gemini, the damage didn't quite have enough. Moonblack looks like he finished the kill on that one. It was
Leekai's
actually
in.
Top King who got it, and he gets just kicked back and away. Leekai taken low, but not going down. Machi get everything on that.
Oh, Machi, yes, they drop one, they lose Gemini, but overall it's such a massive win because they're even able to get one more play at the end of it. We're going to see the replay, and, you know, the chains miss, but because Gmian did land the Sonic Wave, he's able to still get into the fight, and because Moonblack has to use his ult defensively, that's important. Defensively, he can't make a play into the backline, and that means it's just free hitting for these AD carries.
Moonblack full-on betrayed Blaze there. Like, he's like, here, Blaze, you got this. You take the entire enemy team. I'm getting out of here. And he lives, but unfortunately can't say much the same for the rest of the team.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, like, this is a much larger difference than what we saw in Game 1 out of Impunity. At this point in the game, we actually had the Luden's Tempest completed on Moonblack. Now, he's just sitting on the Lost Chapter, and what do you know? Impunity, they're the ones looking very lost.
Yeah, this is little bad news bears for Impunity right now. Not only did Machi manage to keep Top King down in this one, but now they've managed to open up a bit of a lead for themselves. Atlan getting 2 kills is going to start to accelerate the Varus. You see he's already picked up a completed item, still stacking the tier. Impunity will try to get this Mountain Dragon, but Jimian is here. Koala looks to try and pincer, and Impunity start to chase. They bring Moonblack in. This is a bit of a touch-and-go dragon, but with the Ren stacks, I think they have enough to secure it. And they do.
Yeah, they still have pretty good objective control here, but unfortunately, it's just not the same game state as they had at Game 1 of today. So they've got a little bit more work to do in getting back into this, whereas before they were in a winning position and it was just more about just making sure you dot your I's, cross your T's.
It was a pretty
Moonblack's
chaotic game at the end of it, though, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It feels a bit different. Oh, no. Oh, the push into the tower! Oh, Moonblack! That was beautiful. I don't know if Jimian was expecting that one.
Yeah, a bit of a fumble there, but he knows that he has numbers advantage. He also still has his flash there, so you're just trying to burn cooldowns to get this Azir away from the tower so you can just farm these turret plates. Unfortunately, it's split between 4 members, which kind of wastes the gold, but they still get first tower, and it's still a large gold advantage for the side of Machi, and now it's just about reinforcing, snowballing this gold advantage.
That's the Machi game plan. It looks like they're going to try to keep focusing topside. Gemini heads up to Krugs. It does get pinged out pretty quickly, so Top King knows this is happening. I don't know if he can stop it, though. That's the question. Ooh, the lick does land.
Lick lands,
Things
but
you can
now
only
is-
say in League of Legends.
Epic's here, though, so he's going to be able to keep the River King still standing up top here. Okay.
There's the dive out. Okay. Yeah, Leekai's going to play it relatively safe. You know, I've loved this Vayne pick. In all honesty, like I've talked about I've talked about the flashbacks of playing against an AD carry top, but it's just such a smart adaptation, and it hasn't been punished yet because Epic's been a little busy on the rest of the map. You know, Machi are kind of freed to do a lot. You have a good mix of damage from them. I mean, this is a squad that, like, they can do just disgusting things with the lead. And on that back, you see that the Vayne is able to go ahead and pick up the Immortal Shield Bow, already starting to roll ahead with the gold lead. And it's just going to be all about compounding it.
Yeah, and this is, I would say, one of the problems you have with Epic as a jungler is that he likes to go for a lot of these early game picks that don't necessarily scale super well past 20-25 minutes, yet he doesn't necessarily push his lead or try and get aggressive in the early phase of the game. Yes, he went mid quite a few times, but like half those times is just to bail out Moonblack. So he hasn't done anything yet with this Olaf, and they're going to try and make play with this duo.
Yeah, they find Atlan. Nice little yo-yo there, but
the
it's not
turn.
enough. Oh, the turn is too real and in the box. Oh, man. He slams it down, and Machi just take the challenge. Meanwhile, off screen, what is happening down bot side?
Oh
The damage is huge there. Top King gets a return kill onto Jimian as Gemini just walks back and forth, looks for Top King.
Can he get
Not
the kill?
enough great health, but
No.
he can't do it as Epic saves his life.
But now, the duo's
that's
here.
actually enough for Impunity to get something. Epic dodging the Winter's Bite. Top King running to and fro. Here comes Epic. Does he have enough damage to take down Atlan, though? That's going to be the heal. Abyssal Dive coming up. The knockup. It's not quite enough, but Top King will claim one. Look for another.
Top King wins
and
this.
all of a sudden, the Kench has been unbenched, Nightstar.
Red team's turret has been
At long last, he gets to play the game. The Vayne is out of his lane, but now
What?
I'm trying to get one more before he dies.
Yes. Oh, man. Well, he
I don't
had his
think he
moment in
will.
the sun. And, yeah, the Vayne in lane was the main cause of pain, unfortunately. Top King will die, and Jimian will claim his third kill of the game. That was just a very extended engage. Jimian teleports in to the bot lane where he had died and gets the follow-up kill.
I mean, that's the thing with some of these bruisers, right? You know, they live so long, they don't necessarily do a million damage. So by the time they respawn, the fight's still going as we get to see a replay. Jimian, he was on the run, but when Gemini comes around, Jimian says, actually,
he deleted Moonblack to start.
Sick.
That was pretty good.
Slick. And unfortunately, Top King's just too beefy, has too much health, has too much great health on top of that. And even afterwards, he just slowly regens in this next fight. That Atlan, yes, they're super low, but he gets a little bit cross-eyed, sees too many low health bars, and can't focus on a single target.
We can't focus on the replay because we got ourselves another fight, and this one Blaze getting chunked out immediately. 3 members shuffle into the tower, and that is going to be Gemini going crazy on
They don't have the damage,
Moonfall, but it's not going to be enough as Moonblack does open up the kill onto Atlan. It's
here.
1-for-1 traded so far. Top King
Vayne.
taking it up. The gray health already out. The hook back in. Impunity, they're trading even.
Lekai.
But Lekai's going ham into the back line, and that is going to be the win for Machi.
Oh my god, Machi. It looked a little bit dicey after the ult coming in from Moonblack, but remember, Moonblack is most of this team's damage. So if he goes in and he has to use that stopwatch or any of those summoners to reposition, he's not outputting damage. And while, yes, this Kalista is supposed to do damage in the mid game, because she has to flash early on, she's not able to output damage. You see the shuffle, there's no damage to back up that amazing play from Moonblack, and it just looks bad afterwards.
Yeah, unfortunately, running out of steam doesn't really work for you here, and it looked like they were going to be able to actually win a fight. That was a great little lasso onto Jimian. But then Lekai just rolls in, and all of a sudden the silver bolts start proccing, and you know, the Vayne starting to get unleashed is certainly going to be a big pain for Impunity, as Machi just have so many tools. You know, it's you kill 1 or 2 of their members, and they've still got a couple more that can dish out big combo damage.
Yeah, and if Vayne arrives late to a fight, that's actually just perfect, because by then you've burned all your cooldowns from Impunity to get onto the back line. You have none of them left for this Vayne, and they're just easy pickings afterwards. They're just a bunch of meatballs coming at you, and they don't have the CC to lock down a Vayne, which, I mean, that said, Impunity, they don't have a lot of CC to begin with.
That's true, and you know, with that gold in the pocket of the Vayne, Lekai just goes ahead and straight up picks up a Ginsu's Rage Blade, so it's only going to get scarier and scarier. That's going to be an Impunity attempt on Herald. It does get spotted. Lekai is actually staying on the side lane right now, but has teleport available should he want to use it. And that's going to be Impunity actually turning for the fight onto Gemini. Does pull in 3 onto the Moonfall and goes golden to buy a little bit of time.
Here
for the rest
comes
of the
the
team.
turn, though.
Will go down. Moonblack does open up with the kill. Meanwhile, on the back of it all, you did see Lekai opening up with the first kill, and Impunity again run out of steam. Lekai rolling forward with the double, the hook into the follow. Jimian secures the ace for his team.
The resonating strike just removes Kralix out of this game, and Machi, that is pretty much the dagger fight as they try and turn onto Gemini. Honestly, not a bad turn, but again, they don't have damage at this point. They burst him down, but he's still able to buy enough time for the follow-up. And if you burst down a target like a Diana, what do you know? You don't have enough damage to turn onto a Vayne or a Varus. And once again, we see Moonblack. He tries to make the big team fight highlight reel play, but he is 90% of the damage, again, at this point in the game.
Yeah, you know, I think if Impunity... Oh, Atlan is possibly in trouble here, but he's trying to walk it out.
No mana.
Not enough. Yeah, he does get a little bit turned back on him, and like that will be a bit of a revenge kill. Yeah, Impunity are making plays that are great if they're ahead. The problem is they're 10,000 gold behind.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story of Impunity, where they win slow, but they lose incredibly quickly. So once they get put behind, it's just because of the fact that they call for these 5v5 Hail Mary type scenarios. If you lose the first one, it quickly gets out of hand. And right now, they don't even have a say on the map. You look at the turret score, it's 5-0. Yes, they're going to get their first tower down in the bot lane, but it's just way too late at 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it really just has been a story of Impunity trying so hard to set up plays, but just not having enough damage, and therefore they keep getting set further and further behind. We crest the 20-minute mark. It's a 10,000 gold advantage. Baron, honestly, it's just, you could just straight up take it. That's fine. You have 280 carries, whatever. You do true damage with the Vayne, whatever.
Yep.
It's going to be totally fine. It's so hard for Impunity to find an answer. They could force a fight. In all honesty, I think they need to pump the brakes here. There is going to be a teleport coming in. But it was all on the distraction because Machi actually was just fighting with 3 while 2 members are doing the Baron. It's going to get secured up, and they're still turning the fight. In comes Jimmy in. He actually gets locked up in a train of CC, but that's just going to leave an opening for the rest of the game. Gemini going in, and Jimmy in blowing him up. What a 1-2 combo as they clean house into the final hour, and I think this is Impunity's final hour.
And what a way to put the nail in the coffin there. The last fight was pretty much the dagger, but what a highlight reel way to close this game. They're going to have they're going to have Baron minions streaming in here. They should be able to at least get this inhib tower. Death timer's still a little bit low, so it's not necessarily going to finish the game, but they look like they want to.
I think they can do it. It's just Kralix up, and Nice Star, we could have a Dancing Herald this game. All they need to do is take out the Nexus.
Protect Shelly! Protect Shelly!
For just a second, and they do it! They get the Dancing Shelly! Machi will take the game!
Oh, baby, we get the Dancing Shelly. GB, it's like, did we win?
Yeah,
wait.
I thought we were playing. I thought we were still playing. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that did end quick. It just, I mean... they were so far ahead that they could take Baron with 2 and still win a 3v5, or at least keep it even. There we go. There's the smiles on the faces. That was, yeah, keep it cool, Jimmy, and take a sip of water. That was something else. Oh my god, the background. What is happening? What is happening in the Machi house?
Oh, that's a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
They were playing badminton yesterday. I get it, because that's, it's going on in the Olympics, but, okay. Machi, you might want to...
I don't know.
Do you call it Exterminator for a T-Rex problem? I don't know. That's. I guess they didn't have a Shelly mask, so they're dancing. They're dancing in the back.
True.
Wow.
But
Machi made that look real good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what else to say, Nightstar.
it was never in question. That game never ever in question, and it shows that this top half of the standings, there's a stark difference.
There really is. I mean,
is.
just taking a look at it, it's honestly, Machi are a team that have a very storied history here in the PCS, right? You know, going back to 2020, they were, very much a top tier team. And I want to see them really return to being, you know, number one, number two, potentially. It's going to be hard to knock out the likes of PSG, but with a statement game like that, you have to think that they're going to be looking good going into the playoffs. They're still vying for like a number two position. It's kind of an interesting juggle up there with like the likes of Boom Esports and Beyond also joining Machi, and everybody really trying to fight it out for that second bye. Pretty much PSG have locked up the first one, but you know, there's still a little bit of time, I suppose. A few things could happen. Stranger things have occurred, but all the same, Machi looking good. I think Impunity, it was going to be a challenge. It was always going to be a challenge, but they just didn't have enough damage really to ever win these fights. And I think also Top King just kind of, he had to play so far weak side that he barely got to farm. He finally gets on the board with a couple of kills. I mean, some great turnarounds, but it's just not enough. You know, Impunity, you called it, like when they lose, they just fall so far behind that it doesn't matter if they make heroic plays. They just don't have enough to match their opposition. And that does seem to be the trouble with this team.
Yeah, you could really just see it straight from the draft, right? You have a Kalista, so you have to have early playmaking. They didn't have that from that bot lane. It's just not in Blaze's really wheelhouse here. And then, like, you have this Azir pick who scales well, but who's there to assist him when he goes for these big playmaking plays? And then you have Top King who blind picked the Tom Kench. And you just can't do that into Machi, who are just so strong top half of the map.
Well, on your red side too, right? Like, I think something we've been seeing teams in the top half of the bracket really do well is saving a counter pick on the top side, but they give it over to Machi, and not just a counter pick, but like a hard counter pick with the Vayne top, and just also speed running on the pressure. They kept sending Gemini up there. Jimmy even got into the mix, and you know, Machi just, they were all on the map where they needed to be more often, and it never felt like Impunity really had too many chances to get back in. A couple of skirmishes that could have gone their way if they'd had a little more follow-up damage, but just not enough. You know, Moonblack really tried to be the hero, although he kind of betrayed plays at one point. Apart from that, I think they just have to find a few more answers. Jimmy, I don't think there's really too many surprises here that he ends up with the MVP award. He's just been stacking them, and his Lee Sin, I mean, yeah, he saw Rest doing it. He's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. And comes up with some pretty big plays himself.
Certainly, as G-Man gets yet another MVP in his trophy case. This Lee Sin it had a bit of a trouble in lane, but that's to be expected, right? You have a very large range disadvantage, but once it came to those full-blown team fights, he just absolutely annihilated Impunity.
Yeah, he was getting into the back line, getting the cleanup. I really love the play where Krelix was trying so hard to escape on that Lost Baron fight, and he manages to get the lasso, goes in onto the Krugs, and then Jimmy's just like, no, I'm following you. It's lights out.
I'm taking a ride with you. And honestly, I guess second game of Krelix, it wasn't too bad, but again, like, he didn't have a whole lot of options, so we still need to see a lot more from the support.
Yeah, definitely looking to see more from him as the split continues, but we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 10.